Okay, let's continue again. So what I have discussed yesterday is about tipping due to friction, okay? Tipping due to friction. So up until yesterday, what you have learned is a friction where all the things, we assume it as a point instead of a box or rectangular or something like that, which has dimension of length and width, something like that, okay? So up until yesterday, what you have learned is just a point equilibrium. So all the friction that you have learned is happening at one particular point. So all the things that you have learned, we assume that even though we do it this way like this, right? If we assume that there is a box and there is a friction between box and the ground, and then we put the force F like that. But up until yesterday, what we learned is this particular box, we assume it as a point instead of a box with width and length and depth, okay? So starting from yesterday, what we discuss is if we assume that there is a dimension on the things that we studied, okay? It's not, we can't just solve it using point equilibrium anymore, which means instead of just sigma fx and sigma fy, like what we did before, okay? Sigma fx equal to 0 and sigma fy equal to 0, okay? We have to add another equation, which is sigma moment equal to 0. Because right now, it's not point equilibrium anymore. So we have to calculate for the height of the things, the width of the things, the dimension of the things, like that. Okay? So, and the things that we learned yesterday is if we have things like this, right? If we have things like this, and we want to calculate, okay, whether or not it will slides to the right or not, okay, the calculation will be slightly different than before, because right now, the normal force is not like before. Previously, the normal force is always in the same line of action as the W. But because right now we assume that all the dimension is important, so we can't do it this way anymore. So what we're supposed to do is we have to put a normal force at the distance of x from the line of force of the W. Why it's like that? Because it is in order to maintain sigma moment equal to 0 at all the boxes part, okay? In order to do that, okay, we have to shift the normal force slightly to the right with the x direction from the line of action of the W. Okay, that's the only difference actually. Okay, and yesterday I told you as well that if we want to know whether the things, if we want to know whether the things is tipping or not, the definition of tipping is instead of sliding to the right, it tips at this particular point. So it rotates at that particular point. I believe some of you has already experienced this when you push a wardrobe or a box or anything, or a chair or something like that. Okay, when you push to the right like that, suddenly instead of it sliding to the right, the things rotates like this, and the center of rotation is at this particular point. Okay, we call that kind of thing as tipping. Okay, and tipping happening when the normal force, okay, this is the limit of tipping. Okay, the limit of tipping happening when the normal force is on the edge like this. Okay, when the normal force is at the edge like this, this is the limit of tipping. So when it's at the limit, tipping is still not yet happening, but it's about to happen. Okay, when the normal force is at the edge like this, at the right edge like this, okay, or the left edge, anything that based on the external forces, right? If it happen at the edge like this, it means that tipping is about to happen. Okay, then if you calculate for the x and the results of the x is more than the h, for example, like this is the normal force, it means that tipping is already happening because it's not supposed to be, it's not possible to have x bigger than the p over 2, this one. This is p over 2, right? This one, okay? It's not possible to have x bigger than p over 2. So if based on your calculation, x, the value of x is bigger than p over 2, in that case, okay, for example, like this, right? In that case, tipping is already happening. Okay, that's the condition. So the limit of the tipping condition is where the normal force is happening at the edge, where x is equal to p over 2. Okay. Then yesterday I give you insight of that as well. That basically what really happening at the things whenever you put it on top of a ground like that, and it has weight downwards like that, the normal force, instead of just happening at one point like this, the actual condition is supposed to be somewhat like distributed force. Okay, and it is supposed to be constant. Okay, and because of constant, the representative concentrated force is supposed to be in the middle. That's why we can simplify the free body diagram like this. Sorry, it's not F, but it's supposed to be W. Okay, so that's the thing. So actually, the actual condition is supposed to be like this, but we don't have to draw it this way because the drawing the simplification is supposed to be enough. Okay, then if we put a disturbing force of pushing force like this, okay, what really happening there? The distribution, the distributed force, it will not be constant anymore. Okay, most likely it will be like this. It will be linear. Okay, that's why the representative concentrated force of the normal force is supposed to be slightly on the right, right? Because the COG is supposed to be slightly on the right, like this. So the normal force is supposed to be following that. Okay, so that's the idea why suddenly when we give a pushing force like this, why the normal force is shifted to the right instead of just on the same line of action as W, it's shifted to the right. It's because of that. Okay, and then yeah, this is, and then when the tipping is happening, okay, when we know that tipping is happening, okay, tipping is about to happen, I'm sorry, when we give the pushing force like this, when tipping is about to happen, what actually happening is, see, sorry, this one I forgot about something. This one, friction force, we're supposed to add friction force as well. Okay, when tipping is happening, okay, about to happen, it means that everything happen only on the edge. So the contact only happening at the edge. It's because the tipping is about to happen. So the normal force is only happening at the edge, and the friction force is only happening at the edge. That's the idea behind it, because now there will be no contact at this particular area. So the contact there will only happening at the edge because tipping is about to happen. Okay. That's the thing. Any question about that? That's the review about the tipping condition. After this, I will explain about some of the problem example which we have not yet discussed yesterday. Okay. Anyone have any question here?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Okay. Abiyat, do you understand? Do you copy, Abiyat? Seems like she's not responding. Okay. In that case, I will continue with the other problem example. Okay.
Pak,
ya.
Saya mau nanya kan tadi tuh ada apa? Yang X itu kalau udah lebih gede dari apa? B/2 ya?
Ya.
Itu kalau udah terjadi kayak gitu apa tadi Pak? Jadi kayak terjadi apa Pak? Namanya tadi?
Tipping.
Oh, oke. Ya,
kondisinya tipping. Artinya dia berputar sudah. Kondisinya bukan lagi static equilibrium. So the static equilibrium is not yet is not maintained anymore, which means that it will be moving, rotating like that. So tipping is happening. So when the end is
jadi normal force-nya jadi digerak gitu ya? Maksudnya jadi geser gitu?
Nggak, okay. No, it's not like that. So the friction force and the normal force is still happening at that particular the actual thing, right? So basically, when you calculate, right? Let me check. When you calculate for that, the X is supposed to be, in order to make everything in balance, okay? In order to make everything in balance, your normal force is supposed to be like this, right?
Yeah.
But Saki, I ask you, is it possible or not?
Enggak.
No, it's not possible because the normal force is not supposed to be happening outside of the body, right? Free body diagram. Because and this one is outside of the free body diagram. So in that case, the actual thing that really happens is still like this. Okay, still like that. The normal force is still there. The friction force is still there. But the one thing that is not maintained is this one. Sigma moment equal to 0 is not maintained anymore. So we can't fulfill sigma moment equal to 0. Because if we want to maintain sigma moment equal to 0, the normal force is supposed to be bigger than P/2. You understand, Mami?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, whenever the X is bigger than P/2, the sigma moment equal to 0 is not maintained anymore. So we can't fulfill sigma moment equal to 0 anymore. In that case, what really happens there is, okay, the alpha will not be 0. Alpha is the angular acceleration. You remember last semester's physics?
Lupa.
Okay. When sigma moment equal to 0, what we have is alpha is equal to 0. Alpha is angular acceleration here. But if the sigma moment is not equal to 0, okay, sigma moment is not equal to 0, the sigma moment will equal to your mass moment of inertia multiplied by alpha. So the free body diagram will still be like this.
Yeah.
Will still be like that. But at the end, sigma moment equal to 0 will not be maintained. That's the thing. So at the end, it will have a angular acceleration of alpha.
Oke, berarti kita jadi ya pakai persamaan yang itu, Pak.
Yang bawah. Yep. Sigma moment equal to I multiplied by alpha, and it's not part of our statics discussion. So if it's really happening there, okay, what you're supposed to do is just telling the states, oh, in this particular condition, because X is bigger than B/2, and it's not possible, okay, sigma moment equal to 0 will not be happening, okay, then it means that the box is rotating.
Oh, oke. Siap.
Just state it
Mantap.
like that.
Oke, Pak.
Yep.
Nanti,
You
Pak.
understand?
Mantap.
Yeah. Good. Anyone else have any question here?
Kalau ini kan frictionnya kan distributed force ya Pak. Kalau misalkan jadinya kayak kaki gitu gimana Pak? Jadi lemarinya ada kaki-kakinya gitu.
That's the thing that we want to discuss after this.
Oh oke Pak.
Okay. So, but remember one thing, Laswardi. How should I address you, Laswardi? Right?
Just call me Alex, sir.
Alex.
Alek Pak, Alek.
Laswardi salam. Where's you don't have Alex in your name, huh?
Laswardi salam alaik.
Oh, Alex. Alex and Alex is different, right?
Yes, but for the sake of simplicity, sir.
Okay then. Anyway, okay. So the things for you, right? Okay. This is what you mean, right? It's supposed to be distributed like this, right?
Yes.
Okay. But remember, you don't have to draw it like what I draw here. The things here is, if I don't want to simplify, I'm supposed to draw it like this, like this, like this. If I don't want to simplify it, but for you like simplification, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
In order to simplify it, it is better for you to just draw it this way. Okay, just draw the distributed normal force. Okay, just draw the distributed normal force and the distributed friction force at one particular point. Okay, which is at the center of gravity. Not the center of gravity, the COG. Sorry, the COG of the distributed force. Remember, right? I already told you before that if we have a distributed force, okay, if we have any kind of distributed force, we can represent it with a representative concentrated force, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we're supposed to draw is just the representative concentrated force. You don't have to think about the distribution, the force distribution.
Oh.
Okay. So what you're supposed to draw is just like this, the simplification. So whenever we study about the tipping condition, then what you're supposed to draw is just like this, the simplified one. Okay, the normal force happening at one point, and the friction force happening at the same point, like this.
Which one was I supposed to draw, sir? There's so many circles.
This one, the last one. I'm so sorry, Rafi. Okay, seems like it confused you. So the point that I want to explain here is you don't have to draw the distributed normal force. Okay, what you have to draw is just the representative concentrated normal force and friction force, like this. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Wait, sir. What about the top bottom drawing? Like, what
For this
happens
one?
at the end? Yeah, the end, like on the edge
This
of the
one,
block.
okay. This one is the condition when tipping is about to happen.
Oh, okay.
So that's the limit. Okay. So when normal force and friction force happening exactly at the edge, okay, that's the limit. It can't go beyond that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If it's go beyond that, it means that tipping is already happening.
Right.
Okay. And you have to solve it using sigma moment equal to mass moment of inertia multiplied by alpha. Okay. Angular acceleration. But normally in our static case, what you're supposed to calculate is just either this or this. Okay.
Okay.
If it's exceed this condition, what you're supposed to do is just telling them that, oh, tipping is already happening. There will be angular acceleration. That's all.
So that means, do I have to draw again like that? Like in the end? Do I have to draw like that again if tipping happens already?
If tipping happens, okay, when tipping happens, right, what you're supposed to draw, hey, yeah, I don't have it here, okay. If tipping happens, this is what you're supposed to draw. Okay, the N is supposed to be outside, but it's not
Oh.
possible, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, so the equilibrium is supposed to follow this, but it's not possible. Because it's not possible, we know that actually the equilibrium, the free body diagram, free body diagram is following this one instead of that.
Okay.
Yeah, following this one. Okay, following this one, but because it's following this one, sigma moment cannot be maintained, right?
Right.
Sigma moment equal to 0 cannot be maintained, which means we have to follow this. Which means there is a angular acceleration there. So that's the thing that you have to explain, that's all.
Oh,
Okay, so the last drawing is still like this. Okay, but just tell them that the sigma moment equal to 0 cannot be maintained. That's why we have to use this particular equation. So it's supposed to be alpha there, and we don't have we will not calculate for alpha because it's not statics. Okay.
Right. Okay. What's I, sir?
I is
What's-
mass moment of inertia. You're supposed to learn it. Last
Yeah.
semester, no?
Yeah, I forgot.
How can you forget? It's last semester's physics, huh?
Right.
Correct or not?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I know it's correct.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yep. Any other question about the tipping condition before I move to the problem example, the next problem example? If not, then I will continue with the next problem example. For those who missed yesterday's class, okay, please try to watch it again for this particular problem example. Okay, this one, the basic problem example. Okay, for today, I will discuss about this particular problem example. Okay. I think I will give you 1 or 2 minutes to understand about the problem. Then after that, we will discuss about this problem. Try to read it first.
Oh, I want to ask something, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Yep.
But it's not related to this. Do we have what is it called?
But
Okay, never mind. Actually, I forgot.
how can you forget about it? Later, after you remember again, you recall again about the question that you want to ask, let me know about it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, for the other, please try to understand about the problem first before I discuss about it. So basically, I want to explain to you guys, right? Basically, the for this kind of thing, right? For this kind of thing, the one that is in question, the first things that is in question is if, okay, for this particular problem, 9.44, okay, the one that is in question is if we assume that the refrigerator, okay, does not tip over, okay, before it slips, what is the F necessary for the impending slip? Okay, so the first question there for this one, the first question here is the F which cause impending motion. Okay, F which cause impending motion. Okay, then the other question there, question 9.45, okay, 9.45, okay, it's slightly different. Okay, in this particular problem, what we have to see is whether it tips or not, it tips over or not. Okay, it tips over or not if the F the F that we give, okay, is big enough to cause it slips, whether it will slip and will move to the right, or it will tip over. What I mean by tip over is instead of slipping, it will rotate like this. Okay, rotates and drop like that. Okay, that's the second question. Okay, and in the second question, it is given that h, the height of the force, is 60 inches, and the dimension, the width of the refrigerator B, is 30 inches. Okay, the mu s for both problems is the same, 0.2. Okay, first I want to discuss about the first problem, 9.44. So please don't try to take a look at the solution for 9.45. Okay, we concentrate on the top part, this one. Okay, we concentrate on the top part. So basically, the first thing that we're supposed to do is to draw the first the free body diagram. Always start with the free body diagram, right? So this is our free body diagram. Okay, remember, for this particular problem, it's slightly different than the previous problem example that we discussed. Because for this particular problem, the contact only happening at 2 points, point A and point B. In the previous problem example, okay, the contact is happening at the whole bottom part. Okay, but for this particular refrigerator, the contact is only happening at point A and point B, only at 2 points. That's why we're supposed to draw it this way, because it's only happening at A and B. Okay, and there is F there. The one that is in question is the force F, which causes impending motion to happen. Okay, because it's impending motion, we know that the friction force Fa and the friction force Fb is supposed to be equal to normal force multiplied by mu s. Okay, normal force multiplied by mu s. So we know it already. Okay, then we can solve for all the unknowns here. Okay, we have several unknowns here. The first unknowns, because W is known, right? W is known, so W is not an unknown. F is an unknown. Normal force at point A is an unknown. Normal force at B is an unknown as well. Okay, but Fa, Fb is not new unknowns, because Fa here we can represent it with Na multiplied by mu s, and Fb here we can represent it with Nb multiplied by mu s as well. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 unknowns, and because it's not a point equilibrium, we have 3 equations. Our 3 equations are sigma fx equal to 0, sigma fy equal to 0, and sigma moment equal to 0. Okay, but in this case, we will not be using the third one. Okay, because the height here is unknowns. Okay, for this particular problem, the height is unknowns, right? There is no information about the height. The B here is unknowns as well. So we will not be able to use the sigma moment equal to 0. So in this case, we only left with 2 equations, and we have 3 unknowns. Can we solve it? Let's try. Okay. The equation that we have, remember, are these two, sigma fx equal to 0 and sigma fy equal to 0. then sigma fx equal to 0. If going to the right is positive, what we have is f minus fa minus fb equal to 0. Okay, that one. Okay, this one. Why? This one, f is going to the right, fa is going to the right, to the left, negative, fb is going to the left, negative. So f minus fa minus fb equal to 0. Then after that, we remember that we know already what fa. Fa is equal to Na multiplied by mu s, and Fb is equal to Nb multiplied by mu s. So that's why we can replace Fa plus Fb with this one. Na plus Nb multiplied by mu s. Okay, that's the end of the first equation. The second equation is sigma Fy equal to 0. If going down is positive, what we have is W positive, Na is going up negative, Nb is going up negative. That's why we have it this way. W minus Na minus Nb equal to 0. So our W is equal to Na plus Nb. Okay? But you have to know, right? The one that is in question here is just the force F. Okay? It is not required for us to solve for Na and Nb. So the one that is in question is only force F to create impending motion. That's why we don't have to solve for Na and Nb. Okay? And remember here, from the second equation, we know that W is equal to Na plus Nb. That's why we can replace this with W, right? That's why our final equation will be like this. F is equal to W multiplied by mu s, because Na plus Nb is equal to W. Okay, and our W value is 220 pound force multiplied by mu s 0.2, and this is what we got 44 lbf, 44 pound force. Any question there?
Yes, Mr.
Yep.
Like, what does the assumption like in the question imply? Because it says, like, we assume that it doesn't tip before it slips, right?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. It doesn't tips because before it slips, right? It means that we don't have to calculate for the tipping condition. For this particular question, right? When we can assume that it doesn't tips before it slips, means that we don't have to we don't have to calculate for the tipping condition. Okay, so in this case, we just calculate normally in order to check whether impending motion in order to check the F at the impending motion condition, just like that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep. Then this is the results for that one. Okay. The slightly harder problem is the second one. Okay, the second one is slightly harder problem because in this particular problem, we don't know yet about the tipping condition, whether it does not tip over, or whether it's about to tip over, or whether it's tipping over. Okay, we don't know the condition for this particular problem. That one is slightly harder because we have to check the condition of tipping. Okay, the condition of tip over. Okay, how to solve that? Okay, for this particular problem, in order to solving it, right? In order to solving it is because the question there is the condition there. The question there is just the condition of tip over or not. So what we have to check is just whether in the second problem, okay, when we push, right, when we push the refrigerator, it tips over or not. Okay, in that case, we have to check the limit, right? Okay, in that case, we have to check the limit. if we want to check the limit, what do you think? Do we need a normal force at point A or not?
No, sir.
Nope. We don't need normal force at point A. Remember, when we check for the limit of the tipping over, the normal force only happening at one edge. So in that case, it only happening at point B, like that. So our free body diagram will become like this. Okay, there is F happening at the height H, then the width is B of the width is B, the W is here, then normal force and friction force at B happening at the H, and there is no normal force and friction force at A. Okay, so this is all the forces which is happening at the free body diagram of the second problem, because what we're supposed to check is just the limit. Okay, when we check the limit, we will know whether the limit is exceeded or the limit is not exceeded. Okay, if the limit is exceeded, means the condition is tipping over. But the limit, if the limit is not exceeded, means that it's not tipping over, just like that. Okay. For this particular problem, as usual, we can solve it, right? Using sigma fx and sigma fy and sigma moment as well, because all the conditions are known. The h here is known, 60 inches. The b, the width is known as well, is 30 inches. So we can solve for the sigma moment. Okay, we will start with the easier one, sigma fy. Using sigma fy equal to 0, the vertical forces happening there is only W going down and NB going up. If going down is positive, so this is what we will get. W minus NB equal to 0. Okay, then we will get that NB is equal to W. Normal force at B here will be equal to W. Then using sigma fx equal to 0, okay, the only horizontal forces which happening at the free body diagram are F going to the right and FB going to the left. Is going to the, if going to the left, the right is positive, this is what we will get. F minus FB equal to 0, which resulted in this one. F is equal to FB. Okay. Then when we want to check for the tipping condition, okay, if you think about tipping condition, right, which one will give you a worse tipping condition? When the F is bigger or when the F is smaller? Can you answer me?
When the F is bigger, Pak.
Why F is bigger is worse? Is because when the F is bigger the moment, the clockwise moment will be bigger. When the clockwise moment bigger, okay, the possibility of tipping will be bigger as well. That's why we have to check the condition when F here is in the biggest stage. Okay, the biggest value. And you have to remember here, F is equal to FB. So if F is big at the biggest value, means that FB is at the biggest value. FB will be the biggest at the biggest value when what? When impending motion is about to happen. Sorry, not about to happen. Impending motion condition, right? Impending motion condition, which means FB here is the same as normal force at B multiplied by mu s. That's why our F will be the same as normal force at B multiplied by mu s. And using the first equation here, NB is equal to W. So we can replace it here. So our F here will be W multiplied by mu s. Okay? Because we know already the value of F, okay, the biggest value of F, then now we can check whether tipping happening or not. In order to check for tipping, we can use the sigma moment. Okay, the easiest one is sigma moment at point B here. Okay, sigma moment at point B equal to 0. Then this one, F here, will cause a moment, clockwise moment, F multiplied by H, this one. Okay, and W here will cause counterclockwise moment, negative moment, W multiplied by B over 2, because this is the center of rotation. W multiplied by B over 2, this one, minus equal to 0. Then, because I know that my F value is W multiplied by mu S, I can replace F here with W multiplied by mu S. Okay. Then I can cross for W. Then I will get this relation. H is equal to B divided by 2 mu S. This is the condition which will give us moment equilibrium. Okay. To get the moment equilibrium, the calculation of H here will be B divided by 2 mu S. Okay. So the H there is supposed to, if B is 30 inch, right? Mu S is 0.2. Then based on this calculation, we get that H is equal to 75 inches. Okay. So this is the limit. This is the limit of the tipping over. Okay. This is the limit of the tipping over. When the height is equal to 75 inches. Okay. Then after that, we check what is the value of our height here, the H here. The H here, the value is 60 inch, right? And 60 inch is less than 75 inch. That's why we can conclude that tipping is not happening. That's the thing. Okay. Anyone have any question here? Because it's slightly more difficult than the question before.
I still don't understand, sir.
Which part do you don't understand, Rajat?
After we got H equal to 75.
Okay. So remember, right? This one,
Still confusing for me.
H equal to 75 inch. Okay. H equal to 75 inch is the value which fulfill this particular equation, right, Rajat?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because we get the H value of 75 inches from this particular equation, right? Sigma
Yes, sir.
moment at P equal to 0. So in order for us to have a condition limit of tipping over, okay, sigma moment at P equal to 0, it means that it is the limit, okay? The limit is H equal to 75 inches. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Because sigma moment at P here is based on this particular free body diagram. And this particular free body diagram is the limit condition of the tipping over, right? So
Yes.
the results of this is this one, H equal to 75 inches, which means that H equal to 75 inches is our limit of tipping over. If the actual H value is bigger than that, tipping over is happening. But if the actual H value is lower than that, tipping value is not happening. You understand what I mean?
So the F has to be bigger than 75 inch in order to make a tipping motion.
Yes. The F is supposed to be applied at the H bigger than 75 inches in order to create tipping over condition.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
Thank you.
in our actual condition right now, what is the H value? This one, right?
60 inch.
60
Yes.
inches. 60 inches is less or bigger than 75?
Less.
Less. In that case, what is actually happening then? No tipping.
No tipping.
Yes, no tipping. That's the thing. That's the conclusion that we can get. That's why I concluded this way. Tipping is not happening.
I still don't understand the concept of tipping.
Okay, Rafi, like this. the concept of tipping, in order for us to know whether tipping is happening or not, right? Okay, we have to check at the limit, Rafi. Okay, the same as a impending motion. If we want to see whether one particular thing is moving or not when we give outside force, we have to check at the impending motion condition, right? Okay, at the impending motion condition, if the outside force is bigger than the force which caused the impending motion condition, okay, it means that it will be moving, okay? But if the outside force is less than the force necessary to cause the impending motion condition, means that it will not be moving. You understand that concept, right, Rafi?
Yes.
Now, the same concept is happening here as well in the tipping condition. Okay, the same concept is happening there as well. We can use the same concept there as well. So we have to know, okay, in order for us to create a tipping condition, right? In order for us to make a particular things to tip over, we have to create a moment, right, Rafi?
Yes.
Okay, the moment will be caused by this F, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that particular moment will get bigger. It will get bigger if F is bigger, right?
Yes.
Or if the H here bigger, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in the when the tipping is about to happen, okay, we have to check the limit of either the value of F to cause the tip over, or the value of H to cause the tip over. Okay, the limiting value. Because right now the limiting value is actually the moment, but the moment has two components, F and H, right? So if we know already the value of F, we have to check for the value of H whether it will cause tipping or not. Okay, but if the value of H is known, then we have to check for the value of F whether it causes tipping or not, right?
Yes.
That's the thing. So what we're supposed to do in order to check whether tipping is happening or not is the condition of the limiting condition like this. This is the limiting condition, right? The limit condition. So this is the limit condition of tipping is about to happen and tipping is not happening. If it's less than this, then tipping is not happening. If it's bigger than this, tipping is happening, right? Okay, so we know that this is the limit condition. Now we have to solve for this. If we solve for this, okay, if we solve for this using sigma moment equal to 0 at P, okay, we know that if the F value here is the same as W, F value here is the same as W multiplied by mu S. If the F value here is the same as W multiplied by mu S, okay, so the F value is known. Now I want to see whether the height here is enough to get cause a tipping or not. So I want to check the limiting value of the height. Okay, using sigma moment equal to 0, I get that the limiting value of the height in order to cause for tipping is 75 inches. Do you get that, Rafi? So this is if the F is W multiplied by mu S, if the F here, the value of F here is W multiplied by mu F, in order to cause impending tipping, okay, the H here supposed to be 75 inches. Correct or not? Okay, that's the thing. Okay, that's the limiting condition. Now we have to check our condition. The actual condition in our problem is H is equal to 60 inch, right? From the problem here. From the problem here, H is equal to 60 inch. Okay, then H, the actual H, 60 inches, is less or bigger than 75 inches? Less. Okay, so the actual condition is less than the limiting condition. which means that tipping is not happening. Because in order for tipping to happen, okay,
Has to be bigger.
it has to be bigger than 75 inches.
Okay, get it.
Okay, good. Then, any other question? From the chat? Malfi, sir, I still don't understand how to determine whether it slips before it tips or not. Okay, Malfi. So, in order to check whether it slips before it tips, right? As you can see here, okay, as you can see here, the first thing that I want to do is the biggest force in order to cause for slipping. Okay, the force in order to cause for impending motion. So the force F to cause the impending motion is this. We got the value here, right? The the F, this one, F here, in order to cause for impending motion is this one. Because all of these are condition of the to check for the tipping limit and impending motion as well at the tipping limit. Okay, so using this sigma fvi and sigma fx equal to 0, we can check that, we can find that in order for us to have an impending motion condition, the F here, the value of F here is supposed to be W multiplied by mu s. Okay, then after that we check for the tipping, because we already know that the force for the impending motion. Then the next thing that we have to check is whether tipping is happening or not for this particular condition. Okay, after we check, right, we know that the limiting h, the limiting height of the F is supposed to be 75 inches, which is more than our actual height of F, 60 inches, which means tipping is not happening. So that's the sequence. So in order for us to check for the whether certain condition tip before it slips or not, the first thing that we supposed to draw is the free body diagram of the limiting tipping condition limit like this, which means that the friction force and the normal force only happening at one particular edge like this. You draw the free body diagram, then after that you solve for the force which cause impending motion. So you solve for the impending motion condition. Then after you solve for impending motion condition, then using the value of the force which cause the impending motion condition, this one, you check again whether this particular force which cause impending motion will cause tipping or not using sigma moment. Okay, you don't have to necessarily use this one. You can check, you can just use sigma moment at b equal to 0 and use h equal to 60 inches and use f here is equal to what is the value of f, mu w multiplied by mu s. Okay, 44 lbf. Okay, nb here is the same as w, 220. Okay, then friction here you can calculate using this one, right? Then because we use sigma moment at this one, we can calculate for sigma moment equal to 0 here. Okay, then you will see whether the counterclockwise moment or the clockwise moment is bigger. If the clockwise moment is bigger, okay, the clockwise moment is bigger than the counterclockwise moment, what will happening there? It will rotate here, right? If we rotate clockwise, there is nothing there that will hold the rotation, which means tipping is happening. But if the sigma moment due to W here is bigger, means it will, the moment due to W is bigger than the moment due to the F here is bigger at point B, the counterclockwise moment will be happening. The total counterclockwise moment will be happening. In that case, it will rotate counterclockwise, but remember, we can still resist it at point A here, which means that it will not move. It will not rotate, which means tipping is not happening. So you can do it either like this or checking it using sigma moment. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yep, no problem. Any other question?
Pak, itu kan untuk yang free body diagramnya kan hampir mirip dengan yang pakai distributed force itu.
Ya, terus?
Terus bedanya yang limitnya itu, kalau yang distributed itu X ya, kalau ini H headnya.
Ya, maksud kamu antara soal yang ini dengan soal yang ini ya?
Iya.
Oke. Kalau yang soal yang ini yang ditanyakan itu apa namanya? Sebenarnya kita bisa mengecek dari momennya saja, tidak harus mengecek H-nya. Cuman karena F-nya sudah diketahui, saya ngecek posisi H-nya itu lebih besar atau lebih kecil, itu saja sih sebenarnya.
Oh.
Kalau yang sebelumnya kita ketahui yang di sini, itu yang kita cek adalah posisi X-nya. Ya kan? Sama aja sebenarnya. Kalau posisi X untuk apa? Mendapatkan keseimbangan itu lebih besar daripada B/2, berarti tidak bisa dipenuhi kan? Tidak bisa dipenuhi berarti dia akan tipping. Nah, kalau yang di sini sama aja. Kalau misalkan hanya itu setelah kita kalkulasi hanya itu lebih besar daripada 75 inci, kan tidak bisa dipenuhi kan? Benar ya?
Iya.
Karena H-nya kan H kita adalah 60 inci kan? Ya sudah, kalau H kita 60 inci padahal untuk tipping 75 inci kan berarti tidak terpenuhi kan?
Iya, Pak.
Ya berarti dia tidak tipping. Kondisinya kan kalau H itu lebih besar dari 75 inci dia tipping, lebih kecil daripada 75 inci dia tidak tipping kan? Nah, kondisi kita adalah 60 inci, lebih kecil dari 75. Makanya tidak tipping gitu.
Tapi untuk yang bawah itu kan dia kan kita nggak bisa mindahin itu juga kan Pak, yang X-nya itu gara-gara kan dia kaki gitu.
Betul, tidak bisa. Makanya karena modelnya kaki seperti ini dan N-nya pasti di ujung, oke? Jadi yang kita cek bukan lagi X, tetapi yang kita cek adalah H-nya, seperti itu.
Oh, oke, Pak.
Tapi sebenarnya logikanya sama aja. Jadi kayak untuk, so the logic behind tipping condition is just the same. This particular problem or this particular problem, everything are just the same. Basically, in order to cause for tipping, in order to study for tipping, you have to check whether the sigma moment equal to 0 is happening or not. If the sigma moment equal to 0 is happening at the limiting condition, it means that tipping is not yet happening or about to happen. But if the sigma moment equal to 0 will not be fulfilled, then in that case, tipping will happening like that. Okay, so you can calculate for H, you can calculate for X. Okay, it will be just the same. So the basic idea is this. The basic idea for tipping, right? The basic idea is sigma moment equal to 0. If you can fulfill this, it's either tipping is not happening or impending tipping. But if you can't fulfill this, it means that tipping is already happening. And another thing that you're supposed to understand is, in order to check for tipping condition, it is better for us to check for the limiting condition, like this. This is the limiting condition. What I mean by limiting condition is the friction force and the normal force only happening at one edge, the same as this one. It's the same as this one, this particular one. The normal force and the friction force only happening at the one particular edge. It's the limiting condition of the tipping. In order to check for tipping is happening or not, it's better for us to check for the limiting condition. If it exceeds the limit, then tipping is happening. But if it's not exceeding the limit, means tipping is not happening. That's simple. Okay. In this particular problem, the limiting condition is H. Okay. But in the previous problem, the limiting condition is H. Both are the same. If the limiting condition, if it's not exceeding the limiting condition, either X or H, right, means tipping is not happening. But if it's exceeding that, means tipping is happening. Any question about that? Okay. Rafi, do you understand, Rafi?
Not all of it, but
In general,
so
what do you think?
yeah, in general, I understand.
Okay. In that case, it is better for you to practice more and try to learn again with, if I upload this video in YouTube, try to learn again, okay? Practice makes perfect, okay?
Yes.
Any other question about this? No, right? Okay.
Pak, bentar, Pak. Satu lagi, Pak. Kalau misalkan kakinya nggak di ujung, Pak. Misalkan agak ke tengah dikit. Nah, itu kan ntar ada jaraknya, Pak, antara ujung.
What do you think?
Nah, itu saya nggak tahu.
No. I believe you know it. Please don't try to take a look at the problem here. This will be one of your homework later. Okay. So what you mean is like this, right? We have a drawer like that, but the leg is like that, right? And we give force like this, for example, and it has W like this, right? You mean like this, right? Okay. Yeah. What do you think then?
Ya, berarti limitnya bisa X, bisa juga H tuh, Pak.
Nope. The limit here, okay, in this particular condition, right? The force, the limiting condition, means that the force is only happening at one particular leg. In this case, the normal force is happening here, and the friction force is happening there as well. This is the limiting condition. Okay? The limiting condition, it depends on the known value. Okay? If F and H is already known, okay? Sorry, F and H is already known, then you can try to calculate for X. If the X is bigger than the distance from the middle to the one particular leg, this particular leg, right? This particular, so the B over 2 right now is this one. To the leg, instead of the width right now. We don't care about the width of the drawer anymore. We don't care about this. Okay? What we care about right now is the width of the leg. So this is our B over 2. So if H is already known, F is already known, you can calculate for X as well. So basically, for this particular problem, actually you can try to calculate for X as well, in order to see whether the X is bigger than B over 2 or not, because the F value is already known, right? The H value is already known. So you can calculate for X as well.
Tapi kan Pak, kan kita nggak bisa mindahin itu, gara-gara kan dia kaki, Pak. Kan gara-gara dia kaki, berarti kan...
Yeah, I know. But I mean, if X is, if X value in order to maintain the equilibrium is happening here, okay, bigger than the X, bigger than the B over 2, it means that it will not be possible, right?
Iya, Pak.
It means that it will tip over. But if the X value is smaller than that, the X value is smaller than that, for example, like this, then it means that the force at A is supposed to be happening, right? Which is still possible, right?
Iya.
Yep. So it will not tip over. So if you calculate later using the X, using the X concept like I previously explained, right? The X value here will be, the results of the X value here is supposed to be less than B over 2. which is still possible because we don't include the force at A yet. In that case, the force at A will be there like that. Okay, so but it's still possible. That's why the limiting condition, it can be X, it can be H as well. Always like that.
Oke, Pak.
But for this one, it is easier for us to check for the X. Sorry. Okay, if the X is bigger than the B over 2, then it will tip over. But if it's smaller than that, it will not be tipping over, because if it's smaller than that, it means that the normal force can happen at the other leg like that. Okay?
Oke.
Very good question. Okay?
Pak, itu yang di soal ini Pak, yang di tugas.
Mhm.
Itu dijadiin impending motion nggak Pak? Jadi kayak N-nya di paling ujung.
It is
Boleh
better
nggak Pak?
for no, it's better for you to think about it by yourself, because it will be homework, right? We will discuss about this next week. Okay?
Oke
Try
Pak.
to think about it first by yourself to solve for it, and I will discuss after the submission date. Okay, the submission date will be Tuesday midnight. So on Wednesday morning, I will post a video on the how to solve this, and you can learn by yourself. And Thursday, we will discuss about another problem example. Okay. But our class is not yet finished, okay? Because I supposed to teach you about wages. Okay? But about impending tipping condition is supposed to be okay, right? Any other question about impending tipping condition?
No sir.
Okay, good then. In that case,